Okay, this is one more video on exporting this F1 thing into Unity. Just to sort of, I mean, there's still more to do, but this is like a final wrap up of the actual export process. Let's hide these because they look ugly for a second. Let's distract. Right, so I've made a bunch of LODs, which are the same thing, but lower detail, obviously. We've got all this, just so you can see what I'm talking about. I've done it already on this character, but on all the other characters, and I noticed it on this one, when you click on the armature, it's got a scale of 0.01, not good. As do, okay, no, that they all look fine. But on this one, some of the mesh scales were weird as well. I was going to say off, weird, whatever. Stuff wasn't at 1, which is what we want. Everything should be 1, just because. So yeah, you grab the armature and everything else A, and then Control A, S. I tend to do the armature first because this stuff is all children of the armature. So when you do the armature and you change its scale, as a knock-on effect, everything that's a child of it will get affected. So I don't want Blender deciding which order to do it in if I select them all and do it Control A. So I manually would select the armature, or sometimes if I'm feeling really pedantic, I'll unparent all the meshes. I select everything and I'll go Alt P and clear and keep transform. Then I'll reset the armature. It's not seemed necessary in this case, but I've had other things where if you're not using this armature modifier with the armature deform and you don't have the mesh set up as parent type object, if you say have it as a bone object. So let's say this character had earrings and it had earring objects here. They were children of the head bone directly. They weren't using the armature modifier. Then I change the scale on this and apply it, right? That's gonna, yeah, they're gonna go flying off screen and will be hard to locate if you don't do things in a very particular order. So before you change the scale of the armature, you'd want to unparent all these little trinkets, and or if your character had weapons, for example, that's another, yeah. Anyway, because a weapon is a rigid prop, it's not something that deforms. So typically I would have that parented directly to a bone and it wouldn't be using an armature modifier, but this is kind of getting a little off topic and I'm going to be boring anyone who's watching this who's not interested in really niche the way Unity treats stuff. Anyway, so we've reset the scale on everything, it's all good to go. We do need these visible and we need it all selected. I mean, you don't because I've turned all this off, but right, you would go File, Export, FBX, but I've right clicked that and I've added it to my favourites, so I just press Q and go FBX, bam. And before I do this, I'm going to Alt tab back into Unity where I've got it working nicely, but I'm going to delete these out of the scene, and then I'm going to delete all this stuff from the folder as well. I'm going to re-export it and reset it up just so you can see the process. So yeah, as I was saying, you click FBX, and then this screen here is kind of confusing to people. and that's fair because it still confuses me to this day. And every time the FBX exporter is updated or Blender is updated, sometimes new options appear, old options disappear, blah blah blah. And this FBX exporter, I believe, is supplied by Autodesk because FBX is their file format. So the Blender devs are kind of third partying and kind of trying to I don't want to say hack together because that sounds negative, but they are doing the best job that they can to implement a solution to export to FBX, whilst they don't have complete control over how FBX works, and that there might not even be a great manual for it. I don't know. Thankfully I don't go too deep into this coding malarkey, but this is the folder we want to go to inside the Unity project. We have all our objects selected, so we want this. This path mode here, this is for textures. We want copy because it's all within the file, and in order to get access and have this happen, we have this highlighted, copy, that highlighted. Batch mode, and this, don't worry about it, it's for if you want to export. For example, if we wanted to export all the characters here, that would be scene collections, and it would probably name them correctly, but I'm not going to try that because that's something I've not tried before. This custom properties doesn't work inside Unity. I don't think it works on this FBX exporter in general because it doesn't write the custom properties as far as I know. It might do visibility here, might do these eyeballs, it might send that one out as a property, but everything else like custom bone properties doesn't work. I think it worked on one version I tested it on, but yeah, it's never since that I've been able to get work easily. I've read some stuff, but yeah, anyway. This one here, scaling, you want to set this to FBX all, and you want to set forward to be Z forward, up you leave it as it is. These are how they are set to default, and this one, on different versions, different combinations of these settings are successful, but these are the ones that I use currently in this version, and it all goes through to Unity. We're not making animation, we don't worry about this rollout of this tab for a character. Here, all the bones inside your skeleton, the bowler, are only deformed bones, but if I had built any custom controls for animating it, then we might not want them included, and Unity doesn't need them. Similarly, if you had put in some bones that were locational markers on the skeleton or sockets, like for example, where does your character hang their sword on their belt, and you had a bone for that you, when the character holstered their belt during the animation, or he puts the cricket ball in his pocket, saying you want to know where that is on the character as they're walking around, then you would not want to tick this. Obviously, you'd want to keep that marker bone, and then you can cull it from within inside Unity. There's but I mean, some rigs have hundreds and hundreds of extra bones that you don't want to send over because this all takes time to export. I think add leaf bones is ticked by default. I usually turn that off because you don't need to see, I never need to see the lengths of the bones. Sometimes it's helpful, not really. I mean, yeah, depends on your use case, but it's extra bones, it's extra performance. If you don't need them, why bother, I would say. It's more confusing to me having the extra bones when I'm setting up the avatar in Unity, so I turn them off generally. And I think that's everything. And then, yeah, this is F1, and I've renamed the armature F1, so let's just try it and export it. But yeah, and you can see the armature's named F1 as well. So, save that, it's exported over to Unity to check out whether it worked or whether I messed something up. Hopefully it shouldn't still have things set up if I drag it into the scene. Yes, this is good. So it's come in, but it's come in with lots of white textures, which is an issue. So immediately I just click extract texture, like I click on the model down here, extract textures, and you could put this in its own character folder. In fact, let's do that for tidiness. Just call this f1_optimized, and then double click to go inside it, and then select the folder, and it will extract all of the textures, and it will warn that the normal map is not done. It's cool. And then we do extract materials, because the material, even though it's taken and put the images that I've painted or that you've baked inside that folder, the materials that contain the information like the smoothness and what hooks up to what property, we still need them because they're still embedded inside the FBX. So, and let me cancel just to show you, these being the textures, and inside the FBX, these ones being the materials. You can't access all these properties, which is what we clearly want to be able to do. Then this bit here shows you what it's, once you do this and you do the map, they'll appear in here. Get rid of these error messages that mean something, but who knows, apart from the uni does. And so that's all good, and you can see when we click these, that's highlighted saying this material is being remapped to this on this 3D model file. It's being remapped to this, which is great. And then we have these little things that we need to clean up, like the hair. Turn on alpha clipping, gets rid of all the dodginess, probably turn it a bit towards being more solid, and also the smoothness, turn that down. I don't like this, to be honest. I want to clean this up. You can sort of see the hairline a bit. It's not ideal. And also I noticed when I got this close, you can't see it now, but there it is, like there's a little bit of seam there. I've got to clean that up because that's not great. Oh yeah, and I'm going to change these all to be both sides. And this shows up blue. You were worried about that before. That's mainly, I think, a problem with the reflection of the sky. If you turn this to be less smooth, it's a more rough surface, so it reflects less light. It has its more natural thing. But if that color, if the fact that that's, because there is something off there, right? I would 100% agree. And I think it might just be the fact that it's flipped the wrong way around. Because if you show it front only, that disappears. Back only, you can see it's the wrong way around. So I'll just flip them and re-export it. But if it's not, again, if it's not ideal, and I mean this both might cause performance issue in itself because it's rendering everything two-sided, and since the whites are part of this, meaning that's set to both, the skin is also being rendered two-sided, right? If we go inside here, we can see the inside of the right. So that, for all I know, because I don't know too much about the Meta Quest, that might cause you performance issues. Or if you're watching this and you're somebody else, you're on lower end hardware, this might cause issues. So in that case, I would say we could turn this off, and then the way to deal with this sort of thing, what you can see through, is just to model it on, to grab these faces here in Blender and duplicate them and flip them. So then not everything, because like this stuff clearly doesn't need to be double-sided, so that's a fix. But for now, go back and we switch it all to both, so everything looks correct. But the hair, does that need it? I don't think that needs it, because the eyelashes, oh no, look there. Set this both, yeah, they're better. Although I thought I'd fixed them by I thought I'd done that manually, to be honest. It's whatever. I mean, I could mess with this stuff infinitely and still not be happy. Alright, yeah, you need to go into control, select all these, and see it's pure white. and you said, oh, I want the whites to be white, and that is fair, I understand what you're saying, but it's sort of unnaturally white. And then I've messed up the team colour. Don't right click. But yeah, that's like a, it shouldn't be, rather, especially this is a URP and not HDRP, but in HDRP they specifically say multiple places many times across the manual and stuff, never use pure white, because unless you're looking at the sun and it's burning out your retinas, you shouldn't be seeing pure white. So, and they're trying to go for like photorealism. On this renderer and the standard renderer, it's probably not as important, but anyway, I've waffled on too much, but that is the basics of taking from Blender, the final steps, and now we're in Unity, we've got the model in, and we've set up the materials so that, not perfect, but it looks pretty good. Oh, and also, I did show you on Discord, but yeah, the LODs work. It says there how much difference there is between them, 20,000 triangles, 7,000, 2,000. I would also bring this slider here more towards the left, so that it more aggressively turns on the I wanted to say UVs there, so that it more aggressively switches the LODs. See, like now it switched to that one, and yeah, you can see he's a little bit buggy, but you wonder, at that distance, are people gonna really notice that bit on his shirt collar? Which again, this is another thing I can fix in Blender, and yeah, I will do, but it's like when you're on a smaller screen as well, I'm not sure if it's even noticeable. So let me know, Jim, and if you're somebody else and you watched it all the way to now, that's amazing. I hope you got something from this. Cheers.